Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, president and founder of Agiledad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Stand-Up. So without any further ado, let's get started. It's Monday, and it's time for us to kick off a new week. The weekend goes by way too fast. I can tell you that now. But I wanted to talk to you specifically about a comment or a question that was asked in my product owner class last week. So I had a student named Johnny. He was magnificent in class, just one of my favorite students of all time. He really did a good job. And he asked me a question that at first I was very impressed. And from there, it brought me into a place of contemplation. Here's what he asked. He said, "What's the difference between a good product owner and a really great product owner? How do you elevate your game? How do you get to the point where people look at you and go, 'Wow, that's who I want to be?'" And I was like caught off guard at first. I was just like, "Wow, that's a pretty prolific question coming from someone in a level one CSPO class." But I could see that he was in a place where he wanted to take things to the next level, where he wanted to improve. And I could say whatever company he's working for is lucky to have him. I don't know if I'm permitted to say what company he's working for. So I'm just going to say whatever company it is, they really are lucky to have him. So here's the answer that I gave. And I thought the answer was pretty well encompassing, but I'd love to hear your input in the comments if you have other things you'd like to see added to this. So the top three things, I said there are three things that separate just a product owner from a really, really good product owner. The first one is their ability to facilitate, their facilitation skills. Good product owners can facilitate simple meetings between stakeholders. They can have conversations with leadership. But a great product owner really has facilitation down to a science. They know exactly who they want to talk to, what they want to talk about, and what they come in with the right questions. And the best part about it is they're really good listeners. And I know what you're thinking right away. A lot of people are listening to this saying, wait a minute, well, doesn't that describe a scrum master? This is one of those places where a lot of people get confused because this particular skill set should carry over from a scrum master to a product owner to anyone on a team for that matter. This is just how to be excellent at what you do. And I think that if you're a good active listener and you ask powerful questions and you know how to conduct interviews and do that facilitation piece, it's going to make everything flow more smoothly. It's going to make everything just work. Number two on the list is make sure that you have a clear vision and strategy at the product level that's aligned with the vision and strategy at the corporate or at the business level. And I know many people say, well, doesn't the product owner come from the business? And in many cases, that is true, and it should be. But sometimes you have technical product owners, and sometimes you have products where it just requires a little more sensitivity, and you need to have someone who understands the culture of what's going on, strategically, what direction we're trying to go, and someone who can kind of lay a path and say, this is the right way to get there. This is where we need to be. This is what we should be doing. And I think that if you have a strong product owner, not just a regular product owner, but a really good product owner, they're going to be able to easily identify the target audience, what problem they're struggling with, what their product is, how it's different from competitors' products. Why is it important that we're building it now? What is the urgency behind it, right? And I think that if you have really solid product ownership, that is a given that you're going to have that type of tie-in with vision and strategy. And then, of course, the big one, the one that everybody was waiting for right here, right? The big one is the clear delineation of backlog items and requirements that makes sense. Because the hardest thing in the world to do, and we know this from being product owners, the hardest thing in the world to do is to take the vision that someone has in their mind, a user or stakeholder, understand the target audience perfectly, translate that vision into something that's workable by the target audience that can then be translated into written backlog items that can be read by someone technical, interpreted back into the picture that the end customer had in their head. That whole chain of interpretation is like a telephone game. And I think that a lot of times when we write the backlog items, what might make sense to us as a product owner doesn't necessarily make sense to the team that's building it. And then once they build it, it doesn't make sense to the end consumer. So it's kind of a contagious thing, right? And this is where ickawissy comes from. When people come in and they say, just build something, I'll know it when I see it, right? I think that this is the place where product ownership really, the rubber hits the road. I think that great product owners are the ones that can write solid backlog items that make sense, that are concise enough that we can quickly get feedback and pivot and adapt and do the adjustments that are necessary in order for us to have great success. So the three, one more time, they're awesome facilitators. They make sure they know how to facilitate anytime, anywhere. They map the vision and strategy from their product level up to the strategic vision and strategy and understand the importance of having a clear, not only what we're trying to do, but why we're trying to do it and how, right? And then they let the teams, they empower the teams instead of enable the teams. And there's a difference. Enablement means that you're doing it for them. Empowering means that you're giving them the tools they need to be successful. And then, of course, backlog items that just make sense, that are clear, concise, easy to read, easy to go through. And I think that sums it up. So that's going to do it for this Monday. I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, we encourage you to tune into the Agile Dad podcast. Visit us at agiledad.com, where you get more information about this topic and many others. We encourage you to invite your friends. We're trying to do a growth run here for the Stand-Up podcast. Our listenership has gone way up. We really appreciate that, but we need your help to get more people to subscribe. So let a friend know, let two friends know, at least get one person to chime into one episode. Because the deal is, if we want to continue to make these short episodes, we need to make certain that we have people who are engaged, and we need to make sure we have a strong, active audience. So as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.